Hello and good evening. Am I audible? Just give me a yes if I'm audible. Um, just do let me know if I'm audible or not, and if I'm audible or not, so that we can actually proceed with the session. So as you know, today we are going to do this chapter meeting. We already told you about that. That today's, the revision. You can see it in the what do you say, the poster. What is the chapter today? So obviously, this chapter is also kind of a little bit of a foundation also for us for all the other chapters. So starting this chapter definitely helps. Whatever chapters we do every day, make sure that you go back home and revise. After the session, you just revise that chapter. So at least this whole topic is done for you in that case. So starting with this chapter meetings, and this chapter meetings is from section 96 to 122. The name of this chapter is Management and Administration. The name of this chapter is Management and Administration. Good evening, Nilim. Good evening. I just hope I'm audible. Just do let me know that, okay? The name of this chapter is Management and Administration, and it is from section 96 to 122. Actually, the chapter is from section 88 to 122. We are going to do the part where meetings are there, so that is 96 to 122. So, starting with the first section, annual general meeting, section number 96. The name is only telling us annual. So, when I say annual, obviously this meeting is held annually, right? This meeting is held annually. When I say general meeting, in this chapter, you have two things that you will study here. First is general meeting, and second is class meetings. And if you remember, when I am teaching you this chapter, I told you that okay, Nilam, that this class meetings, okay, the rules for class meeting is same as general meeting unless the articles specify otherwise. So you will see I have never taught you, and I'll never discuss specifically about class meeting. The rules of class meeting, whether it is quorum, whether it is notice, the rules are absolutely the same. But if article says something else, then that is what will apply. Now, annual general meeting, as the name is only telling us, obviously this meeting is held annually, that is every year. And general meeting is basically the meeting of the shareholders. So throughout the year, let's say the year is 22-23. I have used the money of my shareholders throughout the year 22-23. So once this financial year 22-23 is over, after this, I just have an accountability towards them to let them know what I have done with their money. And how do I tell them? After the year is over, somewhere here I'll call a meeting. I will call all of them and tell them what I have done throughout the year. This meeting is known as the AGM. And as I said, every year I'm going to tell them the meeting is held in every year. And if you remember, I had told you that whenever I use the word financial year is a period which starts from April and ends in March. But whenever in law I use the word year, I just use the word year, it means I'm talking about a calendar year. That is, it should be held once in every year. However, let's talk about the first meeting. After incorporation of the company, the first meeting that the company is going to after the incorporation, that is known as first AGM. After that, whatever meetings we are holding is known as what? Subsequent AGMs. First meeting is held within 9 months from the end of the financial year. Within 9 months. So let's say my company was incorporated. Now, first of all, let's understand what do we mean by financial year. Financial year is basically a period from 1st April to 31st March. But if a company is incorporated on or after 1st Jan, it will be 31st March of the following, that is of the next year, right? So my company is incorporated here. Let's say on 14th of Feb. Don't get too excited about 14th Feb. It's just a company. And as of now, what is most important is act and not all these days. So celebrate the days of act, nothing else. So let's say my company was incorporated on 14/2/2022. So my financial year, since it's incorporated on or after 1st Jan, my financial year will end on 31/3/2023. And see what's given here, within 9 months from the end of the financial year. So after this date from here, the period of 9 months is when I should hold my first meeting. For subsequent meetings, so once in every year. But if you see here, I'm not holding any meeting in the year of incorporation. The first meeting is straight away being held in 2023. So I'm not holding any meeting in the year 22, and the company will not be held liable for not holding any meeting in the year 22. So once in every year, and here see it's given, company need not hold any meeting in the year of its incorporation. Subsequent meetings, that is every meeting after the first meeting is a subsequent meeting, once in every year. Gap between two meetings, that is the previous AGM and the next AGM, the gap cannot be more than 15 months. So gap between two, not more than 15 months, and within 6 months from the end of the financial year. So let's say financial year ends here. So from here, within 6 months, the meeting should be held. When and where and what time should the meeting be held? It can be held on any day which is not a national holiday. As of today, we have 3 national holidays in India. Any day which is declared by the central government as a national holiday, 26th Jan, 15th August, and 2nd of October. No other day as of today, any other than this is not a national holiday. So can I hold the meeting on a Sunday? Absolutely. We have Holi coming up. Can I hold it on Holi? Yes. Can I hold it on Eid? Any day you can hold it. Doesn't make a difference at all. It should not be a national holiday. During the business hours, that is 9 to 6 generally is the business hours, at the registered office or within the same city, town or village where the registered office is situated. But if you are a government company, at the registered office or within the same city, town or village where the registered office is situated, or any other place as may be approved by the central government. Apart from that, in case of an unlisted company, if you are an unlisted company, you can hold it anywhere. Again, the restriction is anywhere in India. So an AGM can never be held outside India. You can hold the meeting anywhere in India if you have got the approval. Now, after calling the meeting, you're asking, are you a member? Okay, no. Prior approval of all the members. Here, I need all members. Unanimous I need. All the members is taken. And how will I take? So it has to be a prior approval. And how will I take this approval? It can be either in writing or in electronic mode. Now, let's say whatever the reason I'm not able to hold my AGM, then in that case, I can ask for an extension to the ROC. Please extension de do. I can just go and beg him that please give me an extension. Can he grant me an extension? That's totally his choice. It's a discretionary power. Can he grant me an extension? He may. What is the maximum extension? He can grant me an extension of not more than 3 months. But always remember, for the first AGM, there will not be any extension at all. Ma'am, why so? See, first AGM, no AGM in 22. The last date for the AGM or first AGM is 31/12/2023. Now, if he extends another 3 months, it goes beyond 23, it goes into 24. First, 22, year 22, no AGM, year 23, no AGM, 24, bhai, you cannot get so much of extension. So, no extension shall be given for the first AGM. No extension for the first AGM. I hope it's clear to everyone. Yes. Now, with this, we are done with section 96. Moving on to the next section. Power of the tribunal to call the AGM. Let's see. It's a right of a member to know what the company is doing with his money. And how does a member actually know what the company is doing with his money? That is only, how does he know? That only happens when the company calls a meeting and tells him. Now, if the company is not calling a meeting, it is my loss. So in that case, company is not calling the meeting. Should I sit and cry? Oh, my money gone. Company gone. Gaya, dub gaya. Should I sit and do this? No. Bhai, I have a right. I have a right to go to the power, the supreme power. Here the supreme power is what? Tribunal. Go to the tribunal. Tell the tribunal, Arey bhai, they are not calling the meeting tribunal, what should I do? So, if the company fails to call the AGM, the member of the company may apply to the tribunal. When such an application is made, the tribunal may itself call the meeting or order the company to call the meeting. And this meeting will be deemed to be the AGM of the company. That means this meeting, which is called either by the tribunal or on the order of the tribunal, will be considered to be the meeting of the company. Can the tribunal also pass any additional or consequential or ancillary orders? Yes. Can it also pass an order, including an order that even if one member is present, the meeting is valid? Yes, he can. That means he can pass any order, including an order that even if a single member is present, the meeting will be considered as what? The meeting will be considered as valid. Now moving on to the next one. And now moving on to EGM. EGM is again general meeting, so it is a meeting of the shareholders only, extraordinary general meeting. Now what do I mean by extraordinary general meeting? When between two AGMs I hold any meeting, it's called the EGM. Any meeting which is not an AGM is an EGM, right? When I say EGM, EGM can be called by the board of directors or it can be called by the requisitionist. What is this requisitionist? Let's talk about the meeting called by the board of directors first. I am going at a particular pace. We have already done these chapters. You have any doubt in any of the topics, want me to repeat those topics again, just drop a message, I'll repeat those topics again. You have any doubt, please drop a message. Please drop a message, you have a doubt. At least I am doing this revision for you guys. You are not even messaging that yes, we are there, we are following. Yeah. And so dead you are, huh? Or CA Inter is taking a toll on you now. And so moving forward, it can be called by the requisitionist or it can be called by the board of directors or by the requisitionist. Generally, the meeting of a company is called by the board of directors only. Now, when will the board of directors call the meeting? On their own motion. Let's say the board wants to do some business. They want to transact some business. And to do any business, they have to take the consent of the shareholders. So the board, they get the consent of the share, they get to get the business done, they need the consent of the shareholders. So they call a meeting of the shareholders to conduct the business. So they may on their own motion call the meeting. Sometimes it may so happen that the members want to move a resolution. Sometimes it may so happen that the members want to move a resolution. So they can go and make a request to the company that please company, I want you to call a meeting so that I can move this resolution. This is known as a meeting called by the requisitionist, on the request of the requisitionist. So who are these requisitionists? They are persons who make a request to the company that please on our request, at least now something is happening. Keep dropping messages. You have followed a topic. If I ask you, have you followed the topic? Keep dropping. At least you will also be listening. Aapki bhi energy rahegi, something to listen. Keep vibing high. Keep your energies high. Don't be so dead. Every reason to have the energy is very high. You're writing the professional exam, man. Very important exam of your life. Keep your energies intact. So when I say requisitionist, so the members will make a request to the company that please company, let's say, the director has been appointed in the AGM. Itna mashallah, subhanallah, what work he is doing, no guys. Matlab, if we allow him to stay till the next AGM, no, company will only be swaha. So we want to remove him. We don't want to wait till the next AGM. So can the members make a request to the company, please call a meeting to remove this director? Yes. So when we say requisition, there are 3 S's for this requisition. The requisition must set out the matter. First, the requisition must be signed by the requisitionist and it must be sent to the registered office. Now, how many people can make this requisition? If the company has a share capital, members holding not less than 1/10 of the paid up share capital having a power to vote. That means what? Minimum 10% of the paid up capital you should hold. Remember, somewhere this will be there, somewhere something else will be given. Now, so we remember doing a recap. Now, tomorrow exam. Before that, I was studying 1 week accounts. In the exam, they gave paid up capital, total share capital, and you are like, toying, moment. Moe. That will happen. It is paid up capital or it is what capital. Please be careful about these. Otherwise, exam may, God knows. So here it is what? 10% of the paid up share capital. Now, when I say paid up share capital, obviously it includes both equity and preference. But here they have given having a power to vote. That means only those people who have a right to vote on that matter can make a requisition. If the company has no share capital, members holding not less than 1/10 of the total voting power, we don't have a share capital, so I cannot say 10% of the share capital of the voting power who have a right to vote. Now, the moment the company gets this requisition, within 21 days, the company should take steps to call the meeting. What is this take steps to call the meeting? The company should give a notice of the, decide the date of the meeting, dispatch the notices of the meeting. This all should be done within 45 days. Now, it's not 21 plus 45. No. I repeat again, it is not 21 plus 5. It is 21 days from the deposit. Again, it is 45 days from the date of deposit of requisition. Within 45 days, the meeting should be called. Now, if the meeting is not called within 45 days, company fails to call the meeting within 45 days, in that case, now the requisitionist may, within 3 months, call the meeting. Again, it's not 45 days plus 3 months. No, it is again 3 months from the date of deposit of requisition. Right? Within 3 months, the requisitionist may call the meeting. Now, whose obligation is it to call the meeting? The board of directors, right? Whose obligation is it to call the meeting? Board of directors. Who is calling? Requisitionist. Who will pay the expenses? Company. So they have a right to get the reimbursement of all their expenses. Where will I hold the Nilin, I will never say 21 plus 24. When something specifically is given in the act, you will write within 24 days from 21 days meeting should be held. I wouldn't say that would be appropriate. Please stick to the laws, whatever is given. Otherwise, if you try to change, maybe you will change the whole meaning. So instead of writing 21 plus 24, which I wouldn't recommend at all, you just write within 45 days from the date of deposit. That will be more appropriate to write. Okay. Now, when can I hold the EGM? AGM can be held only at the registered office or within the same city town unless you are an unlisted company with the approval. But when it comes to EGM, EGM can be called anywhere in India. When it comes to EGM, it can be held anywhere in India. But if you are a wholly owned subsidiary of a company incorporated outside India, if you are a wholly owned subsidiary of a company incorporated outside India. So what this exactly means, let's say X Limited is incorporated in Spain. Okay. And X Limited has started a company called Y Limited in India. And the 100% shares of Y Limited is held by X Limited. Can I call this as a wholly owned subsidiary? For sure. Can we call this as a wholly owned subsidiary? For sure, this is a wholly owned subsidiary. 100% shares are held. Now, please understand, when Y Limited is calling a meeting, who is going to attend? X Limited. X Limited, representative of X Limited. X Limited is in Spain. Now we ask them, send your representative to India. Becomes a little, expensive also for them, right? So rather, Companies Act says, okay, when X Limited is holding your entire shares, X Limited is in Spain, you go to Spain, you go anywhere else outside where it is convenient and hold the meeting there. So for Y Limited, because Y Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of a company incorporated outside India, they are allowed to hold the EGM outside India. But please understand, this is only and only for EGM. AGM of Y Limited has to be in India. So when we talk about EGM, it will be held in India, but other than in case of wholly owned subsidiary of a company incorporated outside India, EGM shall be held in India. For this, it can also be held outside India. Correct? It can also be held outside India. Now, when the meeting is called by the requisitionist, okay, when the meeting is called by the requisitionist, the rules also tell us a few things. When the meeting is called by the requisitionist, the rule also gives us a few things about it. First of all, they say the requisition shall be made in writing or electronic mode and must be sent at least 21 clear days before the meeting. Now, requisitionist will send a notice to every member. Requisitionist will send a meeting to every member. How will I know? So, which member, their name should appear in the register. Whoever's name appears in the register, they are entitled to get the notice. How will they know who are the members? The company will send them list. Right? How will I know who are the members? The company will send them a list. That these are the people who are supposed to get the notice of the meeting. Now, the notice sent will be by speed post, registered post, electronic mode, and explanatory statement under section 102 need not be attached. If you remember, in the case of LIC versus Escorts, the very clearly held that when the meeting is called by the requisitionist, they need not give the reason behind the requisition. So even though they have to mention, if the resolution is a special resolution, that they have to mention, but they need not attach an explanatory statement. The notice will specify if the resolution is a special resolution, the day, time, place, and date. When the meeting is called by the requisitionist, the place will be anywhere at the registered office or within the same city, town, or village where the registered office is situated. So when we talk about meeting called by the company, it is there in India. But when the meeting is called by the requisitionist, the place is at the registered office or within the same city, town, or village where the registered office is situated. And the day will be a day which is not a national holiday. I hope this section is clear to everyone, and it also contains the business to be transacted at the meeting. Power of the tribunal to call or to call meeting of the members, etc. Now, please understand section number 98 is for any meeting other than AGM. Correct? This meeting is for a meeting other than AGM. So, section 97 was for calling of AGM. This is any meeting other than AGM. Now, here, if it is impracticable for the company to call a meeting. Now, how would I define this term impracticable? There is nothing given in the Act. But I can just say that when I talk about impracticable, the situation is such that it's not possible for the company to call the meeting. Then in that case, tribunal may suo moto. What is suo moto? On his own motion. On his own motion, or the tribunal may on an application by a director or members. So when we talk about 97, 97 is AGM. 97 is only on application of member. When the company has not called the meeting. Whereas it is when it is impracticable and it is suo moto as well as application of director or member. Then they will order a meeting of the company tribunal, and this meeting will be considered to be the meeting of the company. Tribunal can also pass ancillary orders, including order that if a single member is present, the meeting shall be absolutely valid, right? Now moving on to the next one. Punishment default under section 96, 97, if you have made a default, company and every officer of the company shall be liable to a fine which may extend to 1 lakh plus 5,000 for every day of continuing default. Now moving on to requisites of a meeting. 2 minutes. Anything you want to ask before we move forward? Now, requisites of a valid meeting. Requisites means what? They are essentials. Requisites means what? They are essentials. And if these are not present, the meeting will never be valid. If you don't call the meeting within time, that does not affect the validity of the meeting. The meeting is valid. But here, these are requisites. And if the requisites are not present, the meeting is itself not valid. So what are the requisites? Properly called. Notice must be sent. Explanatory statement must be attached. Properly convened. Quorum should be present. Chairman should be present. Proxy may be appointed. Voting should be done and resolutions must be passed. And properly conducted. Minutes should be prepared. Now, as per section notice, section 101 talks about notice. First of all, why do I send a notice? To make you aware. Can it be oral? No. So notice has to be in writing or it can be in electronic mode. To whom do I send it? To every member, to the legal representatives of a deceased member, correct? To the assignees, if the member has become insolvent, to his official assignees, directors and auditors. So see, it should be given to the members, legal representatives of a deceased member, assignees of an insolvent member, auditors of the company and director of the company. In fact, if you remember, okay, Rishikesh, if you remember, in case of under section 146, auditor has a right to attend the meeting. He cannot take part in the meeting, but if any matter concerns him, he has a right of say in that matter. It will be sent at least 21 clear days before the meeting. The word clear means the day of posting. When I say posting, it is not necessarily posting, that means posting as in, we are basically talking about the day of dispatch of notice and the day of the meeting shall be excluded. Right? The day of the dispatch of the notice and the day of the meeting shall be excluded. Now, let's say I couldn't give 21 clear days notice. Is a shorter notice valid? Now, please understand, when I say shorter notice, I'm not talking about instead of 4 pages, 2 pages. Shorter notice means it is less than 21 days. It is what? Less than 21 days. Let's say it was only 19 days, it was 17 days, whatever. Can it be called? Yes, in case of AGM, if 90%, sorry, not less than 95% of the members entitled to vote agree. That means what? 100 members are entitled to vote at the meeting, 95 should agree that yes, I'm okay if you call the meeting at shorter notice. In case of any other meeting can be EGM, can be class meeting, whatever. If the company has a share capital, 2 things are there. First, majority in number. That is, your number, you should be majority. So whatever is the total number of members, majority of the members should agree, and this majority should hold not less than 95% of the paid up share capital as gives them a power to vote. And if the company has no share, so here we have 2 things. So let's say I have 10 members. So I need majority, that is 6. Now this 6 should hold how much? 95% of that part of the capital which gives them a power to vote. Now let's say this 6 is holding 90%. Will it be valid? No. Let's say then majority is there, but 95% is not there. Let's say 7 are holding 93%. Will this consent be valid? No, I need majority as well as 95%. Let's say 8 are holding 96% and they agree. Then is it valid? Yes. So I need 2. I need majority of 10 and this majority should hold not less than 95%. And if the company does not have any share capital, members holding not less than 95% of the total voting power exercisable at that meeting. Correct? The notice will specify the date, time, place, and the business to be done at the meeting. That's the whole purpose of the notice. No, why we send the notice. If I forget to give notice, if I fail to give notice, okay, if I fail to give notice, if it is accidental, meeting is valid. वो बोलते ना, अनजाने में किया हुआ गुनाह तो भगवान भी माफ कर देता है, right? Unknowingly, if committed a sin or a fault, God will forgive. But if you are doing it knowingly, a sin is a sin. Okay, this is not the CIN sin. Okay, I'm not talking about corporate identity number. The meeting will not be valid. I hope it's clear to everyone. Yes. If the notice is sent by electronic mode, if the notice is sent by electronic mode, first of all, it will be sent through email as a text or a URL or as an attachment, right? Please, all detachments from every attachment is the only key to success right now. It should be addressed to the person who has a right to receive the mail. It will be sent in a non-editable format. You have edited it on your own PDF, a new PDF. Company is like, "Nahin, nahin, ye kab bheja?" It should be non-editable. No one should be able to edit. The subject line of the notice will specify the name of the company, the type of meeting, the days and date of the meeting. You should use a system which will create confirmation. Like there should be a proof of sending. So, whenever you send a mail, if you go to the sent mail, you get all the mails that you have sent. That's a proof that I have sent my notice. So there should be a proof of sending. And companies, I have sent, sometimes it happens, no, I have sent the mail, you have not received. I've sent it, but you're like, no, I've not received it. So company's obligation over the moment company dispatches the notice. Company is not liable for non-delivery of notice. I hope it's clear to everyone. Yes. Under section 102, and yes, it can happen. No, my password changed. I forgot my password, right? My email ID was such an embarrassment to me because when I was a kid, I made that email and it looked so pretty. Now it doesn't look anything, nothing about it is pretty anymore. So once in every financial year, the company should give an advance opportunity. Advance means beforehand only. Advance opportunity to update or register. If I have not given any email, register. If I have to change my email to update the email ID. Correct? Moving on to the next one, explanatory statement, section 102. Before we start with 102 business, when we talk about any business, business can be classified into ordinary and special. Remember Adda, correct? Yes, how can we forget that, right? Consideration of financial statement and the report of the board and auditor, declaration of dividend, appointment of directors, appointment of auditors, and fixing their remuneration. This is ordinary business, and any business other than this is a special business. Remember, at AGM, I can do both ordinary business and special business. But when it comes to EGM, yes, Rishikesh, you remember. That's good. That's good. But when we talk about EGM, at EGM, every business is a special business. So even if I conduct an ordinary business at the EGM, by virtue of the fact that it is conducted at the EGM, it becomes a special business, right? By virtue of the fact that it is conducted at the EGM, it will become a special business. So even if an ordinary business is done at the EGM, it's a special business. In case of any meeting other than AGM, all business are special business, right? Now, in case of so first of all, please understand when I say explanatory statement, please remember explanatory statement is always given for what? Special business. Right? Explanatory statement is given for special business. First, nature of concern or interest, financial or otherwise. So if any of my director, my manager, my key managerial personnel, what is key managerial personnel? CFO, CEO, whole-time director, or manager, or MD, or CS, or any other officer appointed exactly one level below the board as a what? As a key managerial personnel. And any other officer as declared by the central government, as may be prescribed. As of today, nothing is prescribed. Or the relatives of the above. Don't forget the MB to the power 5. Right? So all of these, if any of them, not all of these put together, if any one of them also have any interest in the contract, the disclosure should be made. Apart from that, any other information and fact which will help the members to understand the meaning, scope, and implication to make the decision. Like, for example, if you say buyback, if you just tell me buyback, I cannot make a choice. You have to tell me why you want to buy back, from whom will you buy back, within what time will you buy back, where will you get the money for buyback. Unless you give me all those informations, I am not in a position to decide whether I should vote in favor or against. So only when all of these information has to be given. Then if you don't make the disclosures, and because of the non-disclosures, if benefit arises, see, they are not saying you cannot make a contract. They are not saying these contracts cannot be made. They are just saying you can make these contracts, but make a disclosure. If you make a disclosure, we know we have no issues. But if you don't make a disclosure and you earn any profit, then because of non-disclosure, you have made any profit, you are holding it for us. You are just a trustee, you are holding it for us, and you should return this to the company. So such benefit shall be held in trust for the company. That means you have to return the money back to the company. Then, if the company is making any contract, and this contract relates to or affects another company. If my company is making a contract and this contract relates to or affects another company, and the promoter or director or manager or any key managerial personnel of my company is holding not less than 2% of the paid up capital of this company. Which company? Of company 2. This disclosure has to be made. Why? Because when company 2 will make the decision, let us say company 1 has a director D. D is holding 5% of the shares of company 2. Quite a holding. Company 2 will call a meeting. At this meeting, who will go? D will attend. Holding 5%. Having 5% voting rights, which is substantial. That is why disclosure has to be given. Right? Again, if any, we have to consider any document. That means the company is going to discuss a document on which the decision will be taken. You cannot just say, read the documents, 10 minutes, let's discuss. No. So that document should be available for us to inspect before that. So the day, time, and place where it can be inspected. If you don't make these disclosures, or if you have not made, you have not sent the explanatory statement, 50,000 or 5 times the benefit, whichever is higher. The next essential, quorum. Quorum is the minimum number of members that should be present in a meeting to make it valid. In case of a private company, quorum is 2 members personally present. In case of a public company, if I have up to 1,000 members, quorum is 5 members personally present. If I have more than 1,000 members but up to 5,000, it's 15 members personally present. If my number of members is more than 5,000, 40 members personally present. What does the word personally present mean? It means only members who have a right to vote shall be counted. Only persons who have a right to vote shall be counted. And proxies are not counted. Can the article specify a higher number? Yes. Section 103 actually starts with this line. Unless the article specify a higher number. That means the power is given to the article. You can specify a higher number. If you specify a higher number, that is the quorum. If you don't specify a higher number, then in that case, obviously, we have provided the quorum. If the meeting is called and the quorum is not present, we will wait for half an hour from the time scheduled for the meeting. If within half an hour from the time scheduled quorum is present, fine, we will go forward. If within half an hour quorum is not present, meeting stands adjourned to this next week, same day, same time. If at the adjourned meeting also quorum is not present, then whoever is present shall form the quorum. Right? Whoever is present shall form the quorum. Then again, if the meeting is called by the requisitionists and they are not present, then obviously we will not, the meeting, what will happen? The meeting will be cancelled. Then what will happen? The meeting will be cancelled. Then in that case, if do I have to give a notice of the adjourned meeting? Generally adjourned meeting, if there is a change of day, time or place of the meeting, or if the meeting is adjourned due to lack of quorum, then we have to give at least 3 days notice of the adjourned meeting also. Now, if the president or the governor of any state is a member of of a company, and the company calls a meeting, and these people will send any representatives, Under section 112, this representative will be counted as a member personally present. That means he will be counted for the purpose of quorum. Right? He will be counted, he will be deemed as a member personally present. Similarly, under section 113, if a body corporate is a member of a company, see they have used the word body corporate. That means I am talking about both Indian plus foreign companies also. Right? I'm talking about both Indian plus foreign companies also. If a body corporate is a member of a company, I send a representative, this person be regarded as a member personally present. This person will be regarded as a member personally present. That means he will be counted for the purpose of quorum. Chairman is the presiding officer. Unless the articles, generally what happens, no members present amongst them. Now, when I say chairman here, I'm not talking about the chairman of the company. I'm talking about chairman of the meeting. Section 104, which talks about, so ma'am, chairman of the board company cannot be the chairman of the meeting. He may be appointed. But generally, when we say chairman here, I'm not talking about the chairman of the company. I'm talking about the chairman of the meeting. The members present will appoint one amongst themselves as a chairman of the meeting. Right? And this person, and if a poll is demanded, generally the voting is done by show of hands. If a poll is demanded, generally poll is conducted within 48 hours. But if the poll is demanded for the appointment of the chairman, then in that case, it will be conducted immediately. Right? Moving on to the next section, proxy, section 105. Is a person representing a member of the company. Even the proxy form, that is MGT 11, is considered as a proxy. Members, whoever have a right to attend a meeting, also have a right to appoint a proxy. This is a right, inherent right. And this will be, sorry, this is a different point I just marked before. And this will be, in fact, the members have a right to appoint a proxy. And this will be, the members have a right to appoint a proxy. And this will be given in the notice of the meeting. The notice will mention that you have a right to appoint a proxy, you have a right to attend the meeting, you have a right to appoint the proxy. But if you are a company without any share capital, right, if you are a company without any share capital, then in that case, you cannot appoint a proxy. The company cannot appoint a proxy. Now, what are the rights of a proxy? Proxy cannot speak at the meeting. Proxy cannot vote on show of hands, but a proxy can demand for a poll. A proxy can demand for a poll and he can also vote on poll. Right? He can demand for a poll and he can vote on poll. How many members can I act as a proxy? 1, 2, 3. As a proxy must be a member of the company? No. Proxy need not be a member of the company, but if you're a Section 8 company, as per the rules, only a member can be a proxy of a Section 8 company, the member. Okay? How many persons can I act as a proxy? 50 in number. But they should not hold more than 10% of the total. See, there it was paid up share capital. Now it is what? Total share capital. Right? So I can be a proxy of maximum how many people? 50. And this 50 should not hold more than 10% of the total share capital of the company. If a single person is holding 12%, if a single person is holding 10%, even though 50 in number, but because his holding is 10%, can I be a proxy of any other member also? No. So if a single person is holding 10%, you can be a proxy for that person, but then that is it. You cannot be a proxy for anyone else in that case. So 50, there are two things. Number is 50, but the holding cannot be more than 10%. Now, if one single person is, let's say, holding 15%, can I be a proxy for this person? It is given 10%. It is given what? 10%. Now what? Can I be a? Yes, I can be a member. I can be a proxy of that member. But in that case, if I'm acting as a proxy for such member, I cannot be a proxy for any other member. So if a person holds 10% or more of the share capital, he may appoint any person as his proxy, and such person shall not act as a proxy for any other member. Right? Proxy need not be a member. As I told you, MGT 11 is the form number. Notice must specify. All this is done. Proxy form has to be submitted to the company at least 48 hours before the meeting. My article says proxy form will be deposited 60 hours. Member deposited 52 hours before the meeting. Is it valid? Yes. Here articles don't have a power to give any other period. And if the articles give also any other period, it will be taken as 48 hours. So if articles specify a higher period, it shall be deemed a period of 48 hours is specified. It shall be deemed as a period of 48 hours have been specified. It shall be signed by the member and shall be in writing. That means the proxy form shall be signed by the member and it should be in writing. Can I inspect a proxy form? Yes. A member can inspect a proxy form, but he has to give a not less than 3 days notice. That means meeting is here. This is the date of the meeting. And at least 3 days before the meeting, you have to give the notice. Inspection can be done 24 hours before the meeting. Let's say meeting ends here till the conclusion of the meeting. So he must give a notice of not less than 3 days that he wants to inspect the proxy form. Inspection can be done 24 hours before the meeting till the conclusion of the meeting. Correct? Now moving on to the next set, that is voting. From section 106 to 110, it's all about voting. 106 being restriction on voting rights, 107 being voting by show of hands, 108 being voting electronically, 109 being demand for poll, and 110 being postal ballot. Can I stop a member from voting? Only on 2 grounds, only if articles authorize. So there are 2 things here. First, articles must authorize. Articles have to authorize. If the articles do not authorize, I cannot restrict a member from voting. So the articles have to authorize. And only on 2 grounds I can restrict. It cannot be restricted on any other grounds. No. Cannot be restricted on any other grounds. What are the grounds? If he has not paid any calls or sum, or the company exercises a lien over his shares. Lien means the company has a right to retain the possession of his shares. In that case, company can restrict member, and on no other grounds can I restrict a member from voting. Now the next one is show of hands. If at the meeting generally demand for poll is not done or the voting is not done electronically, voting is done by show of hands. The basic thing is when the voting is done by show of hands, it's 1 person, 1 vote. And when the voting is done by poll or electronically, it is 1 share, 1 vote. That's the difference. So whatever on the voting, whatever the chairman declares, that is if he says the votes were, we got the minimum majority, the vote is passed or not passed, the resolution is passed, whatever he says, that is the conclusive evidence. That means no one can question the validity of the votes. Voting through electronic mode, 108. Now, what they say is if you are a list company or you are a company which have not less than 1, that is you have 1,000 or more members, you have to give. They're not saying you may give. You have to give the members an opportunity to vote electronically. Basically, electronic voting is what that I'm telling the members, if you cannot attend the meeting, you sit wherever you are. Go to your online portal. Now everyone has access to internet. Everyone has access to, go to any websites they want. Go to the internet, go there, go and cast your vote online. I'm giving you an opportunity to sit at home and cast your vote online. So they have to provide a facility. However, if you're a Nidhi company or you are an enterprise or institutional investors of Chapter 10B or 10C, referred to that as basically small or medium enterprises, you don't have to provide the voting electronically. You will have to send notice of the meeting. It will be sent to whom? I hope you are following up, everyone. So notice will be sent to all the members, to the directors and auditors of the company. It will be sent by registered post, speed post, electronic mode, or courier service, also put up on the website and also published in the newspaper. See, what happens is, no, I dispatch the notice at least 21 days before the meeting. Correct or not? I send the notice here, and here meeting happens. In this period of time, obviously, there will be a change of membership. Someone will take the shares, someone will sell the shares. So those people who have acquired the shares between this period, they are not getting a personal notice. So how will we tell them? This is done through publishing an advertisement. And you remember, in a Companies Act, I've told you, whenever I say publish, publish is always done in one English and one vernacular language newspaper, correct? Again, we choose one date, and this date is known as cut-off date. On this day, we basically close the register. That from now, today onwards till this date, no records of any trans shares will be done. And as of this day, whoever is the member of the company in the register will have a right to vote at this meeting, attend and vote at this meeting. So for those who have acquired membership, this between this period, they will know about the meeting, the voting, how to vote, everything only through advertisement. Now, what will the notice specify? First of all, they will say that, see, we are giving you an opportunity to vote electronically. You can, if you don't want to vote electronically, you can come to the meeting, attend the meeting, and vote electronically. Vote at the meeting. If you have voted electronically, no problem. You can still come to the meeting. But once you have voted, you cannot cast any vote at the meeting now. We will also tell them how you will get your login credentials, your login and ID, password. How will you get that? That will be given. Now, for these people who have acquired the membership during this period, the advertisement will give some more information. Apart from all of these things, the advertisement will also say what? The cut-off date. What will the advertisement say? The cut-off date. You remember I just told you. Those people who have acquired the shares after the day of notice but before the cut-off period, how they can get their login ID and password. A declaration that only those people whose name appears on the cut-off date shall have a right to vote at the meeting. Website of the company and the name of the person whom we can refer to in case of any grievances. Grievances, I'm not able to generate my ID, I'm not able to generate my password, whatever grievances I have. The voting shall be open for not less than 3 days, and it will close at 5 p.m. before the date of the meeting. That means if, let's say, on the 25th of the month I have the meeting, so at least 3 days it should be open. That is 24, 23, 22. Minimum it should start on 22. Ma'am, can it start on 20th? Absolutely. They are saying minimum for not less than 3 days. And on 24 at 5 p.m. the portal will be blocked. If you have already cast your vote once, you cannot change your vote, you cannot re-vote again. Your portal will be blocked. Right? Now, the company will appoint a scrutinizer. Scrutinizer can be any person, CA, CS, CMA, anyone, advocate, but he cannot be an employee of the company. Now, at the meeting, the voting will be done. The scrutinizer will first count the vote of the meeting. Now, in the presence of the two witnesses, he will open the online portal and take those votes. On this, can I see who has cast the vote how electronically? No. No one, not even the scrutinizer, will have access to the votes. Chairman, though, not at all. Even the scrutinizer will not have any access to the votes. He will only get a list of those members who have voted so that he will know who has already voted and he can stop them from voting again at the meeting. In the presence of two witnesses, he will open the portal. He will again count the vote. Within 3 days, he will prepare a report and forward it to the chairman, who will put it up on the website of the company and declare the result. In case of a listed company, he will also send the report to SEBI. I hope it's clear to everyone. Yes? Demand for poll. Generally, unless a demand for poll is made or the chairman feels that a poll should be done, generally the general idea is done by show of hands. Demand for poll can be made at any time before or after the declaration of results of voting by show of hands. That means you can make a demand anytime. Can you also withdraw the demand for poll at any time? Yes, you can also withdraw the demand for poll at any time. When is it conducted? The chairman may on his or on a demand. How many people? Now remember, even a proxy can demand. How many persons can make a demand? For company having a share capital, member in person or proxy holding 1/10 of the total voting power, or on which aggregate sum of, or shares on which aggregate sum of not less than 5 lakh has been paid up. That means either you should have 10% voting power, or the paid up value of shares, how much? 5 lakh. If the, in case of any other company, 1/10 of the total voting power. They will make a demand. And please remember here, even a proxy can make a demand. Okay? Even a proxy can make a demand. It can also be withdrawn at any time. Generally, if a demand is made for poll, it is conducted, because we have to get everything ready, the ballot papers and everything. So it takes 48 hours. But if it is about appointment of chairman or adjournment of meeting, imagine I say today I want to adjourn meeting. Okay, let's wait for 40 hours. Like seriously, that has to be done immediately. But for rest, it has to be done within 48 hours. Okay? Now the last one, postal ballot. Basically, the difference is in electronic mode, you have to you're conducting the meeting and giving an option to vote electronically. But for postal ballot, you're not conducting a meeting, just passing the resolution through postal ballot. Both the main motive of both is same. If you are already conducting a meeting and there is a business which has to be done through postal ballot, then Act says, okay, since you're already conducting a meeting, no problem. You're giving them voting, electronic voting also you're giving. Don't postal ballot, go for electronic voting. My motive is I want to reach the shareholders. When you're voting electronically, you're anyway reaching the shareholders, so it doesn't make a difference. Don't. Just you are giving them an option to vote electronically, you don't have to do postal ballot. For which businesses? Central government has given us a list of businesses. When you are doing any of these businesses, you have to pass a resolution through postal ballot. But for any other business, it's totally choice of the company whether to do postal ballot or not. But if you are doing any ordinary, if you're conducting ordinary business or a business where director or auditor have a right to be heard, this cannot be done through postal ballot. This can be done only at the meeting. Cannot be done through postal ballot. However, if you are an OPC or a company with up to 200 members, you need not conduct a postal ballot. Okay? Now, how will the postal ballot be done? Postal ballot company will send a notice to the members along with draft resolution. They will tell them how, by registered post, speed post, electronic mode or courier. They will also publish an advertisement in the newspaper and also put it up on the website. The notice will say that we are doing this business through postal ballot. The date of completion of dispatch of notice, this is for a period of 30 days. So they will mention the day the voting starts, the day the voting ends, right? They will also mention that if any votes is received after 30 days, it will not be considered. And if a statement that if a member has not received the ballot papers, they can apply to the company for a duplicate ballot paper. They will appoint a scrutinizer, same thing. Not an employee of the company, he will maintain a record. For this 30 days, he will become the employee of the company. He will prepare a register, make a record of all the shareholders, name, number of shares that they are holding, all the details. As the vote starts pouring in, he will make a record against the name of the shareholder, how he has voted. After 30 days, he will not obviously consider any votes will not be considered. Now what will happen is, after 30 days, within 7 days, he will prepare a report and hand it over to the chairman who will declare the result. Right? I hope it's clear to everyone. So these are the businesses which has to be done through postal ballot. As and when we will be doing the revision of all the other things, I will tell you there and then. Resolution, we have two types of resolution, ordinary and special. Ordinary is simple. Ordinary is नीलम इसीलिए ना मैं डिनर करके ही बैठी थी कि कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो ठीक है ordinary is simple majority and when I say simple majority means what votes in favor is more than votes against. What is special resolution? First the notice will specify and the votes in favor is at least 3 times the votes against. To put it in simple terms, this is more than 50%, and this is minimum 75%. But please remember, ordinary business, ordinary resolution, special business, special resolution, no such connection at all. Resolution requiring special notice. So this is a special notice, section 115. Special notice is given only in 3 cases under section 140, 160, 169. Appoint as auditor. Oh, okay, Nilan, no problem. Abhi to hone wala. We are about to finish this chapter, so I don't want to stop in between. Appoint as auditor a person other than retiring auditor. To stand for the directorship of a company or to remove a director under section 169 or to appoint any person in place of the director removed under section 169. Anywhere else, even if they use the word a special notice shall be given, it will not be considered as a special notice. It's only a special notice under section 140, under section 160 and under section 169. That's it. No, if they use also the word special notice, it's not a special notice. So what is the difference? See, generally a notice is given by the company to the shareholders. Here it's vice versa. Company is not giving to the shareholders. Members are giving it to the company. How many members? You should hold at least 1% of the total voting power, or the paid up value on the share should not be less than 5 lakh rupees. Minimum 14 days before the meeting, maximum 3 months. You give 6 months. Nahi chalega. 3 months say old it cannot be. So maximum is 3 months, not less than 14 days before the meeting. The moment company receives this notice, company will forward this notice to all the other members at least 7 days before the meeting. And if they are not able to give individual notice to every member, it will be published in one English and one vernacular language newspaper. Okay. Minute book. Every company has to prepare a minute book for its shareholders meeting, general meeting, postal ballot, meeting of the board and the committee meetings. It will have a summary of the meeting. Within 30 days it shall be prepared, and this book has an evidentiary value. That means it can be used as an evidence for any doubts on the meeting. Right? And when it is a shareholder, it will contain a summary. And when it is the minute book of the directors meeting, it will also contain the name of the directors present, and it will also contain the name of the directors present, and it will also contain that when a voting is done, for those who did not agree on a particular matter or who did not vote at all, their names will also be given. Let's say we started having some personal discussion at the meeting. Can we decide not to include that? Yes. It is totally the chairman's discretion to decide if a particular thing should not be added in the minute book. So if he thinks that it is defamatory of any person, or it is defamatory means it defames, puts a person in a bad light, or if it is irrelevant or immaterial, or it is detrimental to the interest of the company, then he may decide not to include those matters. And as I told you, it has an evidentiary value. Now, chairman signing, this is important for practical exams, okay? In case of minutes of the board or the committee, it will be signed by the chairman. And if he is unable to sign, the chairman of the next meeting. In case of general meeting, it will be signed by the chairman of the meeting. And in case of his inability, any director authorized by the board. And in case of postal ballot, it will be signed by the chairman of the board. And in case of, because chairman of the board, because if you remember, generally in postal ballot, I'm not conducting a meeting. And if he's not in a position to sign, inability, director authorized by the board. Correct? Then it shall be kept in case of a minute book of the general meeting, it shall be kept at the registered office in the custody of company secretary and preserved permanently. But when it comes to the meeting of the board and committee meeting, this is same. In the custody of the company secretary or the director authorized by the board and preserved permanently. This is same. But it can be kept at the registered office or any other place as the board may decide. So it can also be kept at any other place. Can we inspect the minute books? Yes, but only of the general meeting. You cannot inspect the minute books of the board meeting. So when it comes to inspection, it can be done only of the general meeting. The minute book shall be kept at the registered office, shall be open for inspection. Can the company put restrictions? It will be open from this to this. Can they say 9 to 3? Yes. Can they say 2 to 5, 2 to 6? Can they say 1 to 2? No. Minimum 2 hours every day. It has to be open. Can a member ask for a copy of the minute book? Yes. Company is supposed to providing him a copy within 7 days. You want a copy, you should pay me. Company can ask him to pay, but the payment should not be more than 10 rupees per page. With this, we are done with the chapter. I'll give you 1 day to revise everything, and in that group, telling the intergroup, I will give you a few set of questions to solve from the topic, some tricky questions. Try to solve them, and then I'll see you again very soon with the next revision video. Thank you so much. Good night, all of you.